Hi everyone, this is Norman Kochnick. I'm here. I'm at Norman Kochnick. They can see my name and everything here. We're here today in what should be, I hope, Sanchit Sharma, how are you? Hope you're doing well too. Good to see you here. We're in the World Cup, of course, deep in the World Cup, and we've seen a lot of games going on. It's actually quite incredible the depth to which this competition has now gone. We've got only some. I think there's just the one game to finish off Group One, and then we've got three games in Group Two. And that's what you can see me here. I'm actually based in Melbourne, even though the game today is in Sydney. I'm here in Melbourne because tomorrow India play Zimbabwe in their last group match. We should see India top the table. And so the curiosity now as to whether or not Australia will qualify. Australia are currently second, but it could be very, very short-lived with the potential that are happening. I can't see Sri Lanka beating England today. If they beat them, it'll be a 15 era. Yeah, I don't think so either. Hello, Adolf Hitler. And really excited for those matches. Would love to see Butler versus Tekshana. I think that there's going to be a lot going on with that. You can see you can see my YouTube there. We have England versus Sri Lanka. We'll go through the teams a little bit later. We'll actually get the toss. We'll also have hopefully some guests on. David Graven, if he's awake. It's about 7 a.m. in the morning there in England. Some 11 hours difference. So that's the only problem. Who will win today? In my opinion, you would have to think England will win. England will be all reared up. They've got a lot to prove, lot to play for. And, that's to me, that's the key of all that happening there. So I'm just going to try and get this tank. Okay. All right. So, asked if Patel thinks Sri Lanka win. Well, there's a great video, a photo. I think you may have seen on my YouTube channel. I thought it was quite amusing. Did you see that? Well, they had the Sri Lankan team and they had Australian faces with Sri Lankan names like David Mendes as opposed to David Warner, Aaron Nisanka as opposed to Aaron Finch. So they had a list of names, which I thought was very funny. And then we had Mohammed Nabi, the Afghanistan captain, is now no longer. He's decided to step down. And a tribute to Coley there as well. And I've got this one now. So yesterday, how he was filling in last over. I mean, really, Afghanistan could have easily won that match last night. Rashid Khan, what a champion. Whatever happens today, has to be the most improved team of three. Sri Lanka has to be the most improved. What about Afghanistan? I'd say Afghanistan certainly are one of the ones too. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. We've got 114 messages. What the hell is this 104? What's all this 114 messages? We've got things coming out of our ears here. Lots of things going on with training there. Lots of training videos coming through, which I saw at least. Lots of people here wanting to see what's going on there. Should also send it to Palmer. So there's plenty going on there. Yes, I'm actually live though. Got domestic cricket going on here. I've got to show it. Oh. So I don't know what I can do then. Okay. Martin wants Australia built new T20 same because the next T20 will come T20. Yeah, look, I don't think much of Mark Taylor's point of view anyway. I think they were trying to keep Steve Smith on the side. Joke. They were trying to talking about giving Warner captaincy. I don't believe in that either. There's a lot more issues there than you can imagine. I don't think any of that's possible realistically. So yeah, there's a lot. A lot of people trying to tell me things to do. Really, I don't agree with half of them, honestly. People killing animals there. Not much in the way of just wants to link. People can't look at my YouTube channel, can they? They don't seem to want to. I've got to be able to. People can't look at my YouTube channel, can they? They don't seem to want to share a copy. Okay, get that done. I'll get that done so I can then. Okay, all right. So don't really care the format because T20 is not a format that really matters. I think you're absolutely wrong. I think T20 and the test format are the two that are going to survive the longest. I think the 50-over ODI has the most to worry about. World Cup was such a it's not a tragedy. Renshaw and Bryant is not out at the moment in March Cup. Okay. I do think that the Australian side and I've got anyway, so we've got some 21 minutes before the toss is announced. We've got some amazing I want to be able to see what all these things are. Kylie had a celebration. I can see. There's actually 3 videos there. Okay, we've got some pretty big things happening here, guys. They've actually been downloaded. I have. We really need to quickly get them going. This is a huge thing here, guys. Just bear with me as I'm talking. Let's do a quick movie connection. Media, video. Do a little bit of a YouTube upload as we're speaking. Recently added. Here we go. There's this here. That's one. There's that there. That's 2. Is there a third? Not your third, isn't there? A third. And there's the cake itself. Then there's the cake itself. They've actually released a lot of some time lapse. Okay, let's have a look here. Incredibly, we'll have to add a few cakes here, photos. This is live to air, guys. I'm actually doing something because Vera just hit the deck running. I'm a bit late. Bang, bad. And then you got one more. Bang, add. Okay. So there we are, done. Create a movie. Save there. There we go. 52 seconds. All right. So facts are that after the T20 World Cup ODI series came, we'll need to find a new open and build a new weapon. Look, Australia's done some completely. Aaron Finch has gone. Warner seems to want to hang around, but Aaron Finch is gone. Smith's gone. You'd argue that I would have to say that Matthew Wade is also gone, even though he's floating around with captaincies here. I think he's also gone. Upload a video here. We go. This is craziness, absolutely craziness. So it's going to be a bit of madness here. A celebration of obviously tribute to Virat Kohli on his 34th birthday. Okay, I'm going to get this description sorted out. Bear with me, guys. I just wanted to keep asking me questions, but Maxwell is in a bit mad. I'm afraid it's all too little too late for this, Giants, I'm afraid. Too little too late. Virat Kohli, one that's got the goat. There's one that's got the goat. So Virat. This is a picture of a goat. Are you seeing that, guys? And then a goat. A goat. I'll just put Indian team. T20 World Cup. We'll go with that. Paste. Now we've got to find a quick 1,513 videos now. 1,007 recorded. Here we go. Copy, done. There we have it. Paste. Add the playlist. Boom. Legends sort of thing we should go with. All right, there we go. Upload. Here we have it. All right, I've done that. Okay, Sri Lanka won't win. Yes, I agree with you, John. I think England probably have specials to do really well. As a matter of fact, I would argue there's a lot going on that's huge at the moment. Huge performance checks we can do here. Trying to find it. Got a 15-second. There's all this prolonged effort, guys, from the training. India training. India versus Zimbabwe tomorrow is going to be a bit of a lopsided effort, you would think. Pensive and joyful. Upload that now. There we go. We've got a fair few things going on. So, okay, Diraj, Larry, you're sending me some rainbows. I can see. Yes, but someone can tell they are excited. Well, I'm not saying they're a bad side by any means. No one's suggesting that they're not a good side. But you'd have to wonder whether there's, a lot more to be said about this whole thing. I don't know if I can put that in there whether it's going to work. Oh, that's working. Great video of Virat Kohli walking up the stairs at the MCG. Plenty of camera work. Joyous occasions. Here it is.
Thank you so much.
Very, very, very impressive. I thought I had the other. Let's have a look over here. Very impressive. I had to think that was a big deal. All right. So nice to have him have his birthday on what will be the fifth match. He scored 82, 62, 12, 63. So that's effectively the leading run getter at the moment. It's quite an impressive effort indeed. We can't take away from that fact. 6 minutes ago, so I got in pretty quickly. Good view, so here. A friend of mine's getting married soon. This girlfriend of mine's getting married to someone very young. How do you save more? You hit save. Okay, save. Okay, all right. So what's going to happen today, guys? Who's going to win is the question. Has England got the team to win this World Cup? They probably have. Are they in a position now to be able to do it? I think they are. So I think there's a lot of definites going on here, a lot of factuality, if that's a word. I think that the actuality is it's happening now as we speak, and we should be able to hold firm onto this. Into training, we have to get the legends for more public. No, so looks like the things are all right. Can't get anything there. The other, which we can do, we certainly can get off to on here. There we go. All that caught up, but okay. There we are. We're going to save that. All right. Australia stole 2 points to Sri Lanka. So why will Sri Lanka help them? I don't think Sri Lanka's going to help anyone but themselves. They want to, out of their own pride, have a form of celebration and win the match. That's what I think that they're going to want to do. I think there's a lot to be said about this whole thing. Yes. I think it's a matter of now getting that. Okay, so I can't see there being any issue all about England coming. They're going to be through there. It's good to see Vera Kohli getting a cake from people. It's very, very nice. It's very nice to see, actually. Very nice to see indeed that they're giving him a cake. We're going to have to just quickly evolve this to be 1514 1008. Edit that. Edit. There we go. Just trying to work out what's going on with that last one. I think Cameron Green is not a T20, but I think he is. I think he is very much a T20. Where did you get that from? Edit. Okay. It's a nice gesture, I must say. Very nice gesture they gave him the cake. Yep. 1,000. Well, that goes to 1514. 1008. And there we are. We're done. Okay. So what's happening with Cameron? His last two wasn't a great lad. Won't matter now because they're probably not going to be playing again, guys. It's almost a bit of a furphy about the whole thing. If they're not going to play again, it's no consequence to anyone, is it? Sad as it may seem. We'll have to wait and see what the story. I'm waiting on. Oh, what time I'll get that 15-14. 2008. God, I'm bloody hungry, I tell you. I shouldn't be hungry. I've been eating too much lately. Indeed, I've been eating way too much. When you're on the road a lot, you tend to eat too much, guys. Never do that. Cameron Green, look, Cameron Green, that whole Australian selection is now no longer to be of any great relevance. In that. Yeah, it's going to be a bit on the nose, this whole thing. Too many cooks spoil the broth, they say. All right, this is calming down now. We can start to look towards what they're saying. It's going to be another 7 minutes before they actually. So Sri Lanka will look to spoil England's qualification party. Is that the case? Well, you bloody well hope not for their sake. So it's a big day at the SCG, of course, but in Melbourne there's a birthday cake to be cut. Virat, of course, was presented with a cake. But yeah, it's the so-called team in the preview stage has been discussed about Sri Lanka and England, and England look like they're not going to change their team at all. Adil Rashid could play great significance here because of the spinning pitch. Same with the Sri Lankan bowlers. So Sri Lanka's possible size, Kaushal Mendes, we can keep it an opening bat. I would have had the Russian Dickwella, but that's me. Pathum Nissanka, Dhananjaya De Silva's at number 3, Asalanka 4, Bhanuka Rajapaksa is at 5, 6 is Dashan Shanaka, and he's also the captain. 7 is Winindu Hazaranga, and then Primod Adushan, Mahesh Dakshana, the spinner, Kashan Rajita, and Lahiru Kamara. It's a good side, but not a great side. England side, which I would call a very good side, will retain the side that beat actually New Zealand. Josh Butler, captain and wicketkeeper for sure. Alex Hales, Milan, Stokes, Liam Livingston, Harry Brook, Moeen Ali, Sam Curran, probably Wokes, Wood, Adil Rashid. There's obviously Chris Jordan floating around there as well. That's a pretty good England side, I'll tell you right now. Very, very good England side indeed. We're waiting on David Graveney to join us. He was meant to be joining me. I haven't seen him yet, has he? Not mute settings front camera. Is there a back camera? Oh, can we use a back camera? Use a front camera. And we've got settings, audio general outside. We've got layouts, guests. Okay, so with that, I didn't really know where to invite. I've already invited people, so yeah, this game is getting closer and closer to starting. The England sides, as I've said, are there. I might actually try and post these possible sides, see what you think of them. We can read off that. I can go to the live myself, have a look at it. A lot of vision of the players playing. I could have had another thing over there, but I didn't. What am I looking at? Looking at the live. I'll go to the live now. What am I looking at? I'm just putting up the live. I'll go to the live now. It does. Come on. England's possible lineup. We'll look at the Sri Lankan possible lineup. Come on. We'll look at the Sri Lankan. Well, Stark has not been bowling well for some time. Not exactly shocked at that. We'll get rid of it to get some. Well, Stark has not been bowling well for some time. Not exactly shocked at that. We'll get rid of it to get some. Going through some of these names, which are far too long. Magician, Hazaranga, LANKA will put out. And then this. Okay. Should be coming up now with that new name on it. It does. All right. So the questions are asked. What are your thoughts on Australia's selection of yesterday match? Look, Stark. Don't think it would have made much difference, to be honest. Richardson bowled badly anyway. Nathan Ellis was the selection I should have made. The other major mistake was Steve Smith did nothing, was useless, shouldn't have been in the team, should have been in the squad. Happy birthday to Eric Coley. Thank you there for him. I think we will see at least 5 or 6 changes with the Australian side that will play to 2024 T20 World Cup. You're talking about in America, of all places. Oh, look, there'll be no doubt. Stark's gone. I think Stark's gone. Wade, Aaron Finch, Smith. I even think Warner, but we'll wait and see. That'll be a 5 of that. And they may even look for some other players beyond that. But I think Tim David may not be around in either. Maxwell should still be there and should be still. Mitch Marsh could also go. There's going to be quite a few changes. You're right. Indeed. So what are the 5 changes? What do you reckon the 5 changes will be then, guys? Let's go with the changes, shall we? Well, Smith definitely. With Finch and Wade. There's 3 straight off the bat. Would you agree? Norman, Arun Singh, how are you? Expecting Sydney to should favour spinners, yes, should, but England are good enough to play against them, so I don't think it's going to really worry them. So Smith goes with Finch and Wade. I also think that, Stark's another one that's gone, goes with, Stark goes with who else? Marsh, I reckon, too. There could be another 5 there. There's your 5 of them. It's going to be interesting to see whether we're going to see any of those players play again. Hi, Pranav, how are you? So there's a lot of, I think there's a lot of changes to be made. There's no doubt about that. No fear there'll be a lot of changes going on that side. I think there's a lot of changes to be made. There's no doubt about that. Have you seen the Coley video I've got there? It's got only 31 views. England. Plenty of training videos going on. People have already seen them, probably. Let's just see what happens to England. It's just about time for the toss, as a matter of fact. See a bit of sun through there. It is a bit gloomy at the moment. The toss should be upon us. You can watch a bit of this actually on. You can actually see this. I'll be able to put up on my Foxtel. See whether or not they're actually going to show us the live TV. Australia versus Lebanon, that's totally. It was like a teenage boy's bedroom. Look at the pass here. It goes right across everyone. Goes past Morcos. Mansour tries to pick it open. Australia react first. And Adokar, it goes in for. Some replays of Australia versus
the host nation.
Women's Big Bash. Oh, Jesus. I'm sorry. I'm finding it very hard to watch that. Very hard indeed to watch the Women's Big Bash. I'm sorry. It's not my cup of tea at all. Are they showing it at all? They will be. Bloody will better be. Because I certainly don't want to watch the Women's Big Bash over an ODI, not ODI, T20 World Cup match. There's still nothing going on. I'm not seeing any. Almost toss time, they're saying. Well, it should, in fact, be toss time. Don't know why we're not seeing any of the tosses, guys. I normally get the team lists as well.
क्या बोल रहे हो यार? अरे पहली बार मना रहा हूँ, मतलब इतना सार्वजनिक कभी मना है नहीं, मुझे तो नहीं लग रहा है लीगली।
I wonder if that third video. We're not getting anything on the update, which is a bit of a shock to me. I would have thought they would have definitely had that going on. Let's get these reels going, shall we? It's almost impossible to get things done quickly here at the moment, guys. All sorts of things going on here that are not meant to be going on. Go real.
क्या बोल रहे हो यार? अरे पहली बार मना रहा हूँ, मतलब इतना सार्वजनिक कभी मना है नहीं, मुझे तो नहीं लग रहा है लीगली। वर्ल्ड कप में पहली बार पड़ा है तो वर्ल्ड क्या
Add location SCG. So we're still waiting on this toss. I'll just see if I can get that coming up. Okay. So Sri Lanka won the toss and have taken to the batting. Yes, I've seen that now. Just saw that. Let's have a look at the. So Sri Lanka winning the toss and deciding to bat is probably the right decision for Sri Lanka, putting pressure on the England batters, but I don't know whether it's going to be enough to do anything really, to be honest. I don't think it's going to be enough. I think England are going to be too many guns blazing, to be honest with you. Waiting on the team selections, I don't expect any changes. Why am I underestimating Zimbabwe? I'm not, but I don't think that they're going to. India are going to really, attack and attack hard. I think India will attack and attack hard. They're going to want to start putting stamps on this. They've got a week of games now for the final, so they're not going to waste it. So I just wonder about this video that I put up. I'm going to create another short, which will be the other one, which is the other video, which I haven't put up. Let's just see how that goes.
क्या बोल रहे हो यार? अरे पहली बार मना रहा हूँ, मतलब इतना सार्वजनिक कभी मना है नहीं, मुझे तो नहीं लग रहा है लीगली। वर्ल्ड कप में पहली बार पड़ा है तो वर्ल्ड कप में पहली बार लोगों ने तो कभी किंग नहीं भेजा मुझे। क्या बोल रहे हो यार?
Great videos. Great videos. Superb videos. So Zimbabwe have not a great come up with them. Zimbabwe won, but like unlucky. They did beat. We have to say they did beat. A lovely chocolate, lovely, beautiful, gorgeous chocolate cake for Virat Kohli. Congratulations, I reckon. All right, so we're waiting on the sides now. Let's just see whether the sides have come up. It's a bit slow. Yeah, okay, so Sri Lanka looked. I'll go through the sides now with you. Again, I have no change to what I said earlier, I don't think. Mendes, Nisanka, Dhananjaya, Asalanka, Rajapaksa, Shanaka, Saranga, Chamika, Karunaratne. I think I didn't put him in there, did I? Now we had Madushan, so they put Chamika, Karunaratne, they got Thekshana, Rajita, and Kamara. So there's one change is Chamika, Karunaratne. I think it's more the pace coming in. Interesting. England look like they're exactly the way they suggested they would be, and there's no changes there. Yeah, there's pretty much the same playing units. You'd have to think there's not much change going on there at all. Plenty of cake going on here. They should post about their teams, of course. I can't see any reason for there being any surprise there. They are doing Zimbabwe. There's nothing wrong with Zimbabwe. I'm not saying they're not playing well. They are playing well. So it's going to be interesting. We're waiting on. They're still developing. I'm going to give them that. I'll give you credit when you say that. But I don't know whether you can really say that they're anywhere up to. They're making the top 12 teams, aren't they? So there's a lot to be said about that for sure. Seem to have done very well with a few of the postings there. Kohli, unsurprisingly, has not done that well. Afghanistan hold their head up. Rashid Khan, what a special he is. I'd have him in any side. Where am I from? So I'm from Sydney, Australia. I'm actually in Melbourne, Australia at the moment, following this lovely match. This is another short. Got to get some traction here, guys. There's one of Virat Kohli with a goat. What the symbol is. Put the word goat in there, maybe it comes up. Now I'm getting a very different looking goat. I'll have to work with that. Okay. Labuschagne needs to drop in. Labuschagne's no answer, I'll tell you right now. Labuschagne is not an answer. Don't consider Labuschagne an answer. I'm just looking at the overall total there. Copy. David Gravely is just look. I can just see David Gravely popping up. David,
Hello.
how are you?
I'm fine. Where are you today?
I'm in Melbourne. I'm not in
Right.
Sydney. I would like to have been in Sydney, but I'm obviously here focusing on the games which India have got, fortunately, and I'm here for the
It's your major audience, isn't it? So,
exactly. I shouldn't say unfortunately, but yeah, they had a Virat Kohli cake day today. He turned 34. They've just all smiles. I've just been posting about that. England and Sri Lanka both announced their teams, as you probably saw.
yeah, they've. I think that's the right way round for Sri Lanka if they've got any chance. They've got to try and post a score somewhere over 160, 180, and hope the wicket gets slower and slower, which it appears to do. And their spinners come into play, but form would suggest they haven't won since 2014 in a T20 game. But as I always pointed out to you, Norman, England don't wear the favourites hat very well in anything they do.
It's a bit of a worry, but I can't really imagine it being a true problem, though.
No. First of all, they've got to just play properly, Sri Lanka. Don't try and attack the power play. That doesn't seem to work very often in lots of the sides. They just need to do it. I think the conditions have been really favourable for England. They can just go about it properly. You saw what happened yesterday at Adelaide. You have a bit of excitement for a while, but then you're 50 for 3. So what do you do then? But they just don't. Australia look a very happy team. I don't know. The coach,
no, they don't look happy at all. They look defeated already.
The coach is sitting in the front, shaking his head all the time, which is unforgivable as a coach. So I think they need to do some soul searching, and that was confirmed. I listened to a bit of a blog from Tom Moody, and he said that performance was just reflective of the way they've approached the whole tournament. Really, very hit and miss. So yeah, that result wasn't surprised. So you were right about, but answering that question there is a wise decision to bat first.
Yes.
With their spin against England. Not that they're just suddenly going to run through them, but you just have to look at the Afghanistan game, the first one, of the damage that can be done. And they staggered over the line in the end. There was only Livingston coming in and smacking 20 odd. But Afghanistan have been really good. They're
sensational.
Their death bowling yesterday was absolutely phenomenal. Really, they just bowled Yorkers or slow bouncers and all sorts of things. So.
I have a lot of time for Afghanistan. I think if they can somehow harness all of the success that they've had and start to have a good training regime for young blokes to come through, they're going to be another Pakistan any day in terms of their ability to.
Well, they've got some interesting coaches, haven't they? Got Jonathan Trott as a batting coach. Who's the Pakistan quick bowler who looks after them?
Umar Gul, I think it is. Umar Gul.
Yes, but he's perfect. So but they don't need their seamers don't need too many tricks. They've got them all anyway. So.
And our friend Mosen Sheikh is there as the high performance.
Coaching position. I think they've done very well. I can go back to when I was chairman selectors, and they used to be invited a number of Afghani pace bowlers to come and bowl at Lords before a test match. And after they dismissed Kevin Peterson about every other ball, he asked, could they possibly bowl at somebody else because they weren't doing a lot for his confidence. And they were, they w6'2", and quick. So, and you ally that. Obviously Rashid Khan is a major player for them, but then they've got other players. So, coming back to this game, I expect England to win, but the way the game is played that way round, if Sri Lanka can post a score, then we could have some interesting twists by the end.
So, you must be happy with the fact that England winning today, which we're expecting to do so, will happily knock Australia out at the same time.
Yeah, but you've seen the last time we spoke, You didn't think Australia deserved to qualify, and you're probably right, actually. So.
Yeah, I don't think they did. Look, Stark was, in no uncertain terms, dropped from the game. There was no injury. He was sitting there quite capable. I even had my concerns whether Finch was truly injured, because it probably was going to be his last match in that format. So you'd think he would have went out of his way to play if he was a captain. And Matthew Wade, I've got no disrespect for him, but he's not the captaining answer for their team.
Well, it does answer the question, Norman, the desperation to get Warner to be captain or be allowed to captain if they needed him to captain. So that answers that question.
Yeah,
I just think the body language is, not good. Wade is definitely not a captain. He's a sergeant major who shouts at everybody.
exactly.
So
he's actually too talkative. It would drive me nuts. It would absolutely drive me nuts.
Yeah. So I think to be brutal, I think they got what they deserved. To be fair. So
yep.
Which is
I expected that. I really do that. And you look at the other point here about Steve Smith being selected, but it looks atrocious. He looks way out of his depth in terms of his current form. That's another whopping mistake.
So what other spare batsmen do they have in that squad? Anybody else?
Good question. Who else did they have?
I think you cover bowlers. You wouldn't have two spare batsmen. So.
No, I don't think they had too many other batting solutions. But look, they had 15. So they had Kane Richardson was one of the bowlers that came in. Obviously, Cam Green was the other, and they put Smith. So that makes us 14 of their players there and then. There was one other, and that was, God, who was the 15th player? Was it Swepson? I'm not sure who it was, but they didn't get much of a go.
Might have been another seamer, I think. But
no, who would have been? Well, Kane Richardson. It wasn't Jai Richardson. It wasn't Nathan Ellis. I don't know who it was. I can quickly have a look, but to me,
they've lost their edge, Norman. They've lost their normal Australian trait of being in your face all day long and playing cricket that is like that, and they're not doing that. So,
well, it was actually also the level of confidence that was. The shoulders were down. They looked defeated. They were winning a match, but they looked defeated, and that's not the way that you need to perform. You need to be high-fiving.
The margin of victory was never ever going to get back the. The only way the net run rate could alter is if England lose. So that's the thing they had to, bank on.
Well, they could have scored 200 plus and got Afghanistan out for 100 or something and pulled a miracle that way. That could have been a possibility. So
I guess 200 against their attack would have been very difficult to do. So
I'm just trying to find the Australian team, the squad, I should say, just see who we haven't talked about. Okay. I mean, when it comes, what I find very interesting, David, is you've got stats of the top 10 batters, bowlers, six hitters. Not one single Australian featured in any of those lists.
Yeah,
that says a lot, doesn't it? I mean, the most runs from Australia were Marcus Stoinis with 126 runs, which is awful. Aaron Finch had the highest score. Adam Zabel took the most wickets, and best bowling was Glenn Maxwell. So they really had not much to write home about there.
The Seamers didn't turn up at all, did they? So.
The other player was Ashton Agar, who was in the squad. So Agar Green, Kane Richardson, Steve Smith are the four players that were not in the team, and three of them came in.
I think, and I'm not prone to bold predictions, but if the atmosphere and the seeming body language doesn't improve, they will get hammered in the Ashes.
I kind of agree. I do. I think that, and I've been harping on this for a long time. Smith and Warner have not been themselves ever since the time of Sandpaper Gate. And they have come back in now, and they haven't really changed the culture with them being back in. There's a divide there still. even with Wade as opposed to other keepers. There's all sorts of divides going on there. And even Michael Clark said recently, I went to a session with Bora Majunda and Gavaskar, and he was quite apathetic about the Australian side as well. And I even think their lauded over bowling lineup of Cummins, Hazelwood, and Stark need a good overhaul as well.
Well, I think they need to look at how England have managed their seam attack, which is to leave the Test match bowlers out, the main spearhead. So they are, as tomorrow, heading to the UAE to prepare for the Test series against Pakistan. So I'm sure knowing Stuart and Jimmy, Stuart Broad and Jimmy Anderson, the original winding the clock back when that decision was made, which was pretty enlightened, they would have been really stroppy about the whole thing. But even they must admit that their Test careers have been extended and their focus has been extended. So I think that the amount of cricket that's being played, they're not youngsters. Hazelwood, Stark, and Cummins obviously is a bit younger, but certainly the first two are not young men. So you've got to manage their. I think you've got to manage their. No, it's not necessarily their fitness; it's their appetite to play, and they just looked stale, really. So.
Yeah, I mean, the reality is Australia's held on to some of their players too long, and to an extent, England have too. But now they're working up to it, and they're starting to transition. Okay. Do you think, this is a good question, do you think Silverwood's tactics will favour Sri Lanka?
Well, I don't know what his tactics are. So,
he knows both sides.
He knows both sides. Is he seeking revenge? Knowing Silvers as I do, he would relish the opportunity to get one across England, but not in a vindictive way. He just wants his lads to win. And he's got a young team that are being shaped. They've had lots of injuries in terms of their pace bowling, and I think he's just got a free hit. He's I know that Sri Lanka can get quite emotional if they lose, and he wouldn't approach it just to. It's a bit like the chairman of Durham in my first game when I was captain there. Their first game, this is with Ian Botham, the team, Dean Jones. I'm trying to give a team talk, not very well. And the chairman poked his head around the table and said, "Good luck, lads. Make it as close as you can. In other words, you're going to lose, but don't let the margin be too great." So that upset Dean Jones and Beefy, and they went out and won the game. So that's reverse psychology.
And that often works. Yeah. Okay, so normally we should protest for Prithvi Shaw. Prithvi Shaw is a player that certainly has had he had the golden touch to get to where he was and hasn't been able to go any further.
No, he played in the under-19s when we had a really good tour in Mumbai, and he played is it the Brabourne Stadium, Norman? The old ground?
Yeah.
So he played there, and I'm sitting next to Rahul Dravid because he was in charge of the under-19s, and Shaw just assaulted our bowlers, and he said, "Well, Graham, you think this bloke can play? Look at the next one, who happened to be Gill coming to the crease." And he was just a different level. The one thing I don't understand is why isn't Pant playing?
There's apparently a Dravid Sharma liking of Dinesh Karthik and even Ashwin, and they seem to be favouring them. Whereas if Kohli was probably back in his more of an influence, he probably would have Punt in there. It is a mistake, and I think they're going to rue it, especially when it comes to a game that they're more than likely to play England on Wednesday.
Yeah, England. It looks like it should be India versus England and New Zealand versus South Africa. So
correct. The Indians,
Pakistan have played a real heavy penalty for losing against Zimbabwe to do that. So.
Yeah, that's very sad because they probably were worthy. I mean, South Africa are on the decline. I think they're going to get smacked by New Zealand, to be really honest with you. They didn't play well at all against Pakistan.
Well, they lost the plot, Norman. They definitely panicked when that guy Harris came into bat and got hit on the head, and then proceeded to hit the next 4 balls out the ground. But the guy who I'm really impressed with in Pakistan, who didn't deliver anything with the bat, is Shadab, because I think he's really, his batting and his bowling and just his demeanour. He always plays with a smile on his face.
Yeah.
I think he's a really, really good player. So I don't know whether because Ralph has played in the Big Bash, so I don't see why Shadab couldn't play in it. But he'd be a really good acquisition.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Okay, so as far as I'm concerned, the Indians, by the way, and I have a lot of Indians around me, we're all rooting on Australia really smacking Afghanistan. They want England to lose because they actually would like to play Australia.
I'm sure they would. I'm sure
and they would like to play them at the SCG, not at Adelaide Oval. And there was a lot of discussion about hoping that Australia would get through and they would play, because when that's decided, if Australia were to get through, even in second spot, they automatically choose the SCG, would you believe? They were given the preference because they won last year's World Cup. They have a preference to grounds, and they were all going to prefer the SCG, that is Australia, and that meant India would play Australia, and then South Africa would play New Zealand in Adelaide. But now it's turned out the other way around, where it looks like, unless something dramatic happens, England will play, and it'll be playing against India in Adelaide, and New Zealand versus South Africa and Sydney. And India did not want that, I can assure you.
Well, it'd be interesting to see what they do with their team, actually. With the ball spinning a bit more, does that mean the leg spinner comes back into contention?
Yeah, I'd say that. Yes, they probably will. But I mean,
that weakens their batting. Well, no, well that spare guy is not getting any runs whoever he is.
No, no.
Huda or whether it's Patel. So you might as well go with a mystery bowler. So
I agree. To me, India, the first thing they should be doing is not having, because Carney's not even 100% fit. He's got a back problem as well now, picked up during the game.
He hasn't got a run.
Yeah, I know. It's been awful.
And actually, what they could do if they're going to play, was he able to? I think playing Panthers gives them a left-handed option, and with the boundaries as narrow as they are, that's actually quite a good thing to have.
Oh, gotcha. And he can attack the hell out of it. He can be the X factor that could really give England a bit of grief. And if he's not there...
What is that question from Anna?
Was Graveney egoistic and strict when he was a selector? Now, that's... I don't know. Were you a strict selector or were you egoistic?
What do you mean by strict, then?
I don't know. I think probably saying that if you play well, you're in. If you don't play well, you're out. There was no... and if someone had a misdemeanor of some sort, they were, you know...
Well, that was... I always thought that was one of the... more stupid question I always ask by players: what do I have to do to play for England? Well, it is a pretty simple question. Just get more runs than anybody else. So
consistently over a couple of seasons.
There's no magic formula. So if you're saying strict is not the right way. I thought I was always transparent. I explained to the players exactly why they were in or out. Probably more when they were out. And a lot of the senior players said, I don't need an explanation. I know if I get left out, it's because of those two things. Haven't got enough runs, haven't got enough wickets. So
very simple.
Yeah.
Very simple.
But I think the thing for a selector to be is have good communication. That is the key thing. Now, the players might not like the answer, but at least you've got to give
full answer. So we're now looking at the players who are starting to go. The SCG is my favourite ground, David. I mean, I'm sorry, there's no other ground that comes. I mean, MCG is bigger, more of an atmosphere in terms of size, but just the whole.
Well, no, I was watching it over the last 2 weeks with my wife, and we fortunately went to, and you know, I have connections with Brisbane because my uncle played for Queensland. But Sydney is the only one that has really retained its be a cricket ground, like the Pavilion. Yeah. Everything like Concrete Jungle. You know, fortunately, Adelaide have protected the bank, which is good. But even it had some really weird buildings in it, which Clem Jones had built. So yeah, I agree with you. It's just that.
I mean, the best ground in Australia is SCG. Second is Adelaide Oval. then MCG, in my opinion. Then maybe you might go for Perth or Hobart, and last would certainly be the Gabba. That's my worst.
Well, I was always sent as the first. All the hierarchy always went to Sydney.
Yeah, exactly. Understandably so.
Never had that.
Now we're looking at. Is Ben Stokes opening the bowling?
Tends to go one over.
Right. Well, he's bowling the first over. It looks like here.
And he will get somebody out.
Sri Lanka, I'm afraid, no matter what they say about them, England should comprehensively beat them, regardless of the ground. The crowd is, I think this just quickly, David, the crowd is very disappointing. I'm very disappointed with the crowds. It was Australia playing last night against Afghanistan, fair enough, but there was no one there.
Is that price of the tickets, frequency of the matches, the
weather?
No,
tickets are not the reason. I mean, apparently tomorrow's game between India and Zimbabwe here at the MCG has already sold 88,000 tickets.
There won't be too many Zimbabwe. Well, there'll be a few.
No, there'll be no Zimbabwean supporters probably. And in the case of the first match, there was 90. So, and then Perth had 44. So the Indian crowd's been pretty good. But I'm talking about Australia. It's Australia playing in a World Cup match in Adelaide. Wouldn't there have been a full crowd?
What sport is being played at the present stage in Australia? Is it rugby union?
And what at Adelaide Oval?
No, just in the country generally.
At the moment, nothing, because there's a Rugby League World Cup over your way. That's it. So we just had a 4 from Pussum. The Sunker's just hit a 4.
He's the one who dropped that catch at long off.
Yes.
How simple was it? So the fielding, I don't know if it's something to do with the lights, but I've never seen so many easy catches dropped.
Oh, yeah.
You know, if there had to be a fielding award, Rabada would win it easily. So,
for sure.
He's caught some fantastic catches. But I agree with you. South Africa looked very, very. But I think that can happen in T20. I think it's how you bounce back from a defeat, because anybody can lose any game, and everybody seems to lose one. India's loss was very narrow. So, and again, if they caught Kobe had caught that catch, or they'd hit the stumps a few times when it seemed more difficult to miss than hit. But that's the beauty of the game, isn't it? So,
absolutely.
I just look at the way that India are playing. Obviously, beating Pakistan is a huge sort of not a monkey on the back, but there's so much riding on that fixture. So
for sure.
The moment they won it, you could sense that they all had a sigh of relief, and now we can move on. So they look in a good place, as do New Zealand. So yeah, and England the same. They've got over their blip.
They look great too. But they've got to show form in this match, I reckon. Well, not only because they've got to win, but I think it's important to go in with us to the semis with a solid win.
Yeah. So, and Sri Lanka, really, I think if there's any tactics that Chris Silver would have applied to their batters, just play properly, because you're shot makers anyway. We've got to avoid being 20 for 3. That's what they've got to avoid. So.
It's so funny. I've only been to I've been to 2 SCG games, but I've been to more games in other states, which doesn't bother me too much. But so, who are your finalists, David? Not semi-finals.
Yeah, India versus England, New Zealand versus South Africa.
And
if Pakistan were not in such a hopeless position, I think they would have got to the line as well. But they and Australia, to be fair to them, they did themselves so much damage in that first fixture against
psychological debacle. I'm just putting a plug in to get my charger because I'm just having to charge things. It's a bit on the. Let's see. Okay, good. I'm going to take a slightly different position now because my charger's told me to do that. So I'll get my chair.
You'll be pleased to get home, Norman, to get back to your restaurants.
I don't. I've been well fed here. There's no worries about that. Oh God. Yes. All right. We're looking at a situation here where I want you to be. I want to have you on for the end of the game because it could become quite a discussion point once we get the game over with.
Yeah.
All right. So are you happy to keep talking, or do you want to go watch it and come back?
No. It's fine. So.
All right. I'll just get the little camera here. So where I'm situated on Flinders Street in Melbourne, very close to the Crown Metropole, which is where the guys were. I actually walked into the lobby of the Crown Metropole because I had a camera out. They come up to me, the security come up to me and said, "Do you realise any photographs or videos of the players will be deemed to be a breach of privacy?" And I said, "Beg your pardon? What planet are you on? You can't stop me from taking a photograph at the front of anything." Not that I was, but it was a bizarre comment. It was quite stupid. I said, "Charge me, please. I'll go right ahead. I'll be interested to see what a court battle that'll be." So, yeah, I mean, so they've opened up with Stokes and now they've got Wokes.
So they've hit a 6 already then, the little lad.
Yeah. Oh, look, England, you've got too many firepowers. There's too much firepower there with, a whole host of batting talent there to really come together. And not only your openers, but, the whole order is quite magnificent. I thought it was interesting how Milan was dropped right down the order in that previous match.
I think that he if he has some setbacks, I think he just sort of loses a bit of confidence. But I don't know why that is, because his record's phenomenal, really. In terms of, and that's not average; it's more strike rate. So
Tusho Solanka's asking for the teams. I gave it to the group well before. Let's have a look back here. I'll go through the pages of comments that are made. I feel we had a lot of comments. The Sri Lankan side, just to get that clear, is they're batting at the moment. Both Kaushal Mendes and Nasanka are opened. We've done on JS De Silva and then
because they have made one alteration because all rounders come back.
Correct. They got rid of Madushan. They got rid of Madushan and they put in Chamika Karunaratne. So there is one change to that team.
Yeah.
Correct. But then England are as per program, which I love to see. I love to see that. I think that's a really, to me, that's the way it should be. You should keep your side. You should be playing, regularly with that. So I don't think teams do that often. I know they have injuries or niggling this thing. Like you keep your best 11 on the field as much as you can because it just creates a, consistency, conformity. That's the way it should be.
Well, and also the more that you go on in a tournament, the guys who are not playing are in no form whatsoever because they can only just have a net. They haven't been out in the middle. So unless it's forced by injury, and in most situations, people, it doesn't matter if it's like saying KL Rao should have been dropped because he had 2 low scores, one of which wasn't out, or he didn't go for a full, and that would have kept him at the crease. So I think you're right. Just stick to your best 11, unless there is an injury concern, then you have to change it. That's why you've got. I always think that the 15 should be your best 11. Plus, you can't cover every position, so you'd have a spare spinner, spare seamer, spare batsman.
Exactly. I mean,
the only key thing that you have to be careful of is that if your wicketkeeper gets injured. In England's case, every other bloke keeps wicket in their team most of the times. So.
Well, Australia had a bit of a problem because they really didn't have anyone. It was Tim David or Dave Warner, and both of them were not regular keepers. It would have been a bit of a debacle. Look, Steve Smith was an incredibly wrong decision being in the squad at all. If Ashton Agar wasn't being included to bowl his left-arm spin, well, I don't know why he was there. So Mark Wood's already come on. Oh, the ball's been hit into the air an almighty height. And it's actually gone for 6. It seemed to go straight up, but it actually had some grunt behind it.
So who's on?
Wood's bat bowling, and his first ball's been hit for 6 in the most alley-oop way, literally straight up.
All right, straight over the keeper. They go miles.
So,
those top edges. So.
Wood's ball's gone so far high up, but it's actually had a bit of distance and it's gone well into the crowd.
So I have to nip out. So I won't be back until something around 11:30 our time, which is around about what time it finishes.
Okay, well I'll keep going because I'm going to be here for the match, and you just jump back on. All right.
Okay. All right, Norman. Where's Chris? Has he abandoned you or not?
Who?
Chris.
Yeah, I keep sending the links. I think he's got a girlfriend that's occupying his time, and he's happy with it. Which I'm not going to stop life. Girlfriend.
Just get a message to him saying, I'm asking, is he frightened? Him and his dad, are they frightened of having a conversation?
I'll try and get him on. All right.
All right. We'll
Thanks,
speak
David.
over the. Speak to you later. Cheers, Norman.
Ciao. So there we have it. David's been on for a while there, and we've got at the moment, Sri Lanka are certainly running away with a few runs here. They've scored 23 into the third over. Impressive. Sri Lanka's got nothing to lose, have they? Absolutely nothing to lose. It wasn't the best of shots, but it was. So Buckled others, and what should be the T20 format as per Sir David? It doesn't seem fair. I mean, you can get them after losing one almost. Well, yeah, it's just so even. I think that's the reason why he would suggest to me that if you start badly, if you're up against it immediately. That's what he was talking about. The semi-finals would be like New Zealand versus South Africa, and then yes, your thoughts. That's put through, and that's exactly who's probably going to make it. As long as England win today. If they don't, it'll throw the cat amongst his pigeons, because that means Australia will play India, and they'll play them in Sydney rather than Adelaide. And New Zealand and South Africa, who are planning to go to Adelaide, may in fact be going to Sydney. Sorry, maybe they'll plan to go to Sydney, maybe going to Adelaide. It does matter. It does matter a lot. Format matters a hell of a lot. So both batsmen on. Pathum is on 12 and Mendes is on 12. Sri Lanka none for 25 into the third over with Mark Wood already gone for 10. Sikandar, rather than most dangerous players ever betting like he is. He certainly is. Well, England are going to have to just curb this run rate a little bit. Chris Apana, pretty, where are you? Well, Anna well, Chris is around. Apana's just come back from India. I can get her Apana on now. Pretty sure it's gone some time ago. So, yeah, they're all around, aren't Russian Khan did almost end Australia's World Cup champ. He did too. Manu John's doing nothing wrong. Another ball's gone for 6. Australia's got nothing to lose because they're not going to make the semi-finals. Of course, Devashish, you're right. If Sri Lanka put a bit of runs and not pressure England, that doesn't mean that Sri Lanka will get through. It'll be either Australia or England. If England lose, it will be Australia. No crowd there at all. Mark Wood's running off. I'm not sure what the problem is there. He went for 17 off his opening over, which is not good. 2 6s and 3-1-1, and he's gone for a lot. We're hearing me loud and clear, guys. Had to go with the battery there. You think? I don't think the T20 format is really what is the right format. It's over and above. They're not for 33. Amazing. Pathum is 18 off 9 and amazing shot. Biggest upset on the tournament on the cards. Well, it's early days, guys. Let's not quite say that yet. Australian public do care about T20 cricket. That's not true. They're not coming to the game, though. You're right. The actual SCG crowd is pretty bloody ordinary. You're right. Australia losing interest in well, because their team's not playing well. That's the only reason why. That's the reason why they're playing. They're in there. And you're not playing with your thoughts on that one. Well, yeah, I'm not too happy with that. I think they probably needed a wrist spinner. Oops. Empty stands, I'm very disappointed with that. This is at the SCG. England versus Sri Lanka in a game that counts. Should be a full crowd. There's not. It's a nice, beautiful day, too. So Naveen is got the fantasy points out of Rashid, Glenn Maxwell, Mitchell Marsh, and Goldberlin from last night. So-called fantasy points. They're playing that flick shot very well. Sri Lanka are looking good. Norman, do you someone? Yeah, well, we'll have to wait and see. We'll talk about him more highly if you want. Okay. Not exactly sure what's going on there. Upset is upsetting. It'll be upsetting for sure. I mean, it's Friday night. Lets them have their fun after a long week at work. Yeah, that's true. It was a good time. It's just a funny old situation. Let's see what we can come with here. The numbers haven't been great. Okay, so West Indies for 2 tests, yes, correct. Do you think Sky has already pushed out one of Pajaro? Yes, definitely. I think probably Pajaro, I'd say out that lot. So what we're going to do, guys, we're going to cut the show now, as we've gone a fair amount of time. It's gone past, and we'll allow this to run its course. We'll see how the game pans out, as we would expect it to be. Well, we've done the preview well. So it's finished because no, I don't think so. Every team is a boring player like Manish Pandey. Steve Smith, then the launch accepting one. That's true. It's a pretty true comment. All right, guys. Sri Lanka, how are they going now? Tell you what the score is. Wickets fallen. Ooh, there's a wayward throw. All right, Norm Renshaw's 100. And Matt Renshaw should be in the squad. I would agree with that. He's for the future. Still young enough. Oh, some very edgy shots there from Thurman. He's getting away with it. Mendes has just gotten out. All right, guys. Just give me a sec. I'll back in a sec. Give me a second. I'll back in a second. Come back in a sec. back, guys. A little toilet break. You saw the nasty. So the Masters has said head, not head. Warner, Smith, Renshaw. Smith's out. Renshaw, Marsh, Green, Sand, Agar, David, Cummins, Stark. Looking more like the side, although I don't even think Stark should be there. Okay. Okay. How are we going in this match now? What's the story here? A bit of volume there. So it's 1 for 65 after 7. Huffing's done well on 41. Dunn J is 4. So effectively, Wokes has taken the one on the score 39. Okay. Lots of things going on here. Got to work out. All right, guys, we might just have to end the show here. Let's just, with Sri Lanka, obviously, they're doing very well under the circumstances. They won for 56, in fact, a little more than that. And 1 for 69 after into the 8th over. The batsman out, of course, was Claude Livingston. Bob Wokes was Mendes for 18. Putham is doing well, 1 for 69. No, run rate is exactly 9. This is pretty impressive, guys. Very impressive indeed. We might just call it quits here, guys. We'll talk about things more in the future, okay? So, again, if you like and share this post, subscribe, and join me on the next show.